What's up, guys? Today we're here with a 2016 RZR 900S. It's a pretty sweet little OG unit. I've had some problems lately with it, just slopping the steering, impossible to keep under control, like high speed stuff. Low speed it's not so bad, but high speed's pretty bad. So I go to take the front end apart, get the front tires off, and of course I find nothing less than what you would expect. So down here, looking at our steering rack, and down here, of course, obviously, this boot is torn. And then if you look at this where it goes into the rack, there is pretty serious amount of play. So what we're going to do today is squeeze in there behind the tip. We're going to take that factory unit out and we're going to put in this sweet little Super ATV Rack Boss heavy duty rack. We got heavy duty, I believe 12mm tie rod ends, all the hardware to do it. Super ATV has their own little instruction book here. For the most part, we've got to center the rack. Lots of videos out there on YouTube on how to do that, so I won't kill your time there, but we're going to center the rack up. We've essentially got our 3 mounting bolts that are 3 bolts, and of course our bolt that couples the steering shaft to the steering rack. So it's really not too bad of a project. The only bad part is it is tight, super tight. So I'm going to squeeze in there. I'm going to do what I can. Just spend the evening doing this, hang out, listen to some music. I'll give you guys of course a sped up version of this, but check it out, let me know what you think, and when I get done I'll wrap it all up and I'll let you guys know problems that I had, specialty tools I might have had to have, anything else crazy for somebody else that's going to do this soon. So I'll get back with you here in a little bit and I'll be done. Alright guys, so wrapping up from the last video doing the replacement rack with the new Rack Boss heavy duty rack. This is the rack that came out. Obviously she is very worn. She is done, seen better days. Boots are torn, ball joints are destroyed, mud and everything. To get this out, like I said before, you've got your 3 through bolts. You've also got these other 2 bolts here. The worst part of getting this out by far was either A, getting the steering linkage off of here, the little coupling. There's only 1 nut and bolt through it, but it can be a pain to get to. The other thing is getting it out of the chassis itself. You really have to drop it, rotate it, and pull it out. That's the only way to have enough space to clear this bracket coming from either way. I came out the driver's side. I don't think passenger really even had an option. There just wasn't enough room there. So I got this out. The new one, when I went to put it in, I'm not sure if the steering stem was just a little bit taller or what it was, but I did not have room to get it in there and rotate. So I went in with a Dremel and a bit and just made me a real small arched groove in the metal down there, one of the supporting brackets, just gave me a hair to be able to get this in and rotate it. What it was, when it was rotating this way, it would hit on the edge of the steering stem. So I just made a little notch in the metal, had room to go in there and rotate, get everything back together. Also, when I put the new collar on here from the steering shaft, I went ahead and disconnected from the steering wheel side, which is about halfway up the cabin, halfway up this steering shaft inside the cabin. So maybe somewhere around your knee when you're sitting in there. So I went ahead and disconnected there. I greased everything up. There's a handful of U-joints between the steering wheel and the rack. So I wanted to grease everything while I was there. It wasn't a huge ordeal. If you forget to center your rack or something like that, of course you have the choice at that point to go ahead and straighten your steering wheel, which is nice too. If you've got a steering wheel puller tool, or maybe a rigged way to pull the steering wheel off, you can go ahead and break the U-joints at knee height loose, and then break the steering wheel loose. Set your bottom section of your shaft down on the rack, slide your middle section up on by knee height, and then you can center your steering wheel up with your tires and get it bolted back on. So there's other methods. The ones that I've seen on YouTube, they simply slide the shaft down onto here while it's inside the machine before it's bolted up. Well, as you can see, this is really goobered up. So getting everything apart, getting everything back together, even with grease, with no room to work, it was just easier to go ahead and bolt the rack up, take the steering shaft apart, and then piece it back together from the bottom back up towards the steering wheel. And it gave me the opportunity to clean and grease everything. So in the last video, of course, the camera battery went dead. GoPro problems, everybody has them. So I'm in a different shirt now. It's actually been about a week and a half since I did that. As a review for that, it's fantastic. It's night and day. There's no play in the steering wheel. Obviously mine was just trashed. So comparing it to a stock Polaris unit, I really couldn't tell you. Comparing it to this unit, man, it is a huge difference. Steering stability at low speeds and of course high speeds. All I've got now is the little bit of sway I get from the tires. I run my tires pretty soft, about 6-7 pounds. So no more motion in the steering, which is great. I feel much more confident when I'm driving it. It feels like a better machine. It feels tight. It feels new, which is great. So a couple $100 here. Not a sponsored post, but sure wish it was. Anyways, so Rack Boss Super ATV. Most of the stuff on this rig has been Super ATV stuff. It's like I said before, it's just a 16900S. It's a great rig. My wife and I take it out, have a good time. We're not too hard. I probably will upgrade. I'll probably step into a Pro R or something like that here in the next probably year or so. But that's about it. The only special tools I had to have is I used quite a few extensions to go in from through the hood entrance point all the way down to where this connects to get to that nut and bolt. So I probably had 16 inches of extensions along with a swivel on there to break that loose. There may be an easier way, but that was the best access for me. It's where I could get my hands, it's where I could lean over there comfortably and just slowly work that thing out. Also, when you go to take this apart, when you go to take that steering shaft off of here, an important step that I skipped and had to go back and do because I was fighting it so bad, make sure you take a flathead and pry that little coupling open just a little bit. It might not look like it's doing anything. Maybe, you know, it may look like, oh, this is a small screwdriver against this big old solid clamp here, but it's massive. It's great to be able to stick a screwdriver in it, pry on it just a little bit, and then all of a sudden it slides right off. So that is a necessity when you go to take this apart, and obviously it helps when you put it back on. Other than that, there's really no other specialty tools I had to have. So, like I said, this has been about a week and a half for me to come back and finish this up. So I'll have some another video I'm going to make right behind this explaining what's happened in the past week and a half and how we ended up here with everything torn apart. Got my pile of crap and cans. So steering rack done, 200 other things on the list. So if you guys have any questions about the steering rack itself or about the process, how I did it, if I can make your life any easier, let me know. If not, cool, I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see. I'm going to try and get some riding videos out eventually when I get these machines back on the road. If not, thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate it. I hope to do a lot of videos for you in the future. I hope you can come along on this ride with me as I start this channel. I appreciate anything you can do, anything you've done. I appreciate just likes. I'm a simple man, so just give me some love and share me around. I appreciate it.